Sunday NBA TV tripleheader tips off with Luka and the Mavs looking for win number one and for some revenge after being eliminated in the playoffs by the Clippers. Paul George has been sensational, averaging 28 points in LA's first two wins, but this afternoon he'll have to be even better. Kawhi is out. We'll have more on that in a moment. Game 2 takes us to Charlotte, where KD and the red-hot Nets are in town. Brooklyn won its first two by a combined 54 points. You'll see KD, Kyrie, and the Nets take on the Hornets. Then later tonight, we go back to Staples Center, where LeBron is probable to play after suffering an ankle injury. The champs will look to stay unbeaten as they welcome the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the CarMax pregame show, day 2 of NBA TV's broadcast schedule. We've got the great Hall of Famer, two-time champ Isiah Thomas, and Cole's dad here with us. Greg? Is it Greg? Greg?
Yeah.
Greg.
Nice
Greg.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Greg
me on board.
Well, it is great to have you on board as well. And we've got an unbelievable lineup of games, starting with this Clipper and Maverick game. And you got to think that the Clippers want to keep the train moving. The Mavericks looking to avoid something that they didn't do all last year, which is lose 3 games in a row. But the big story coming in, fellas, is the status of Kawhi Leonard. It's not load management. It's not anything to do with his knee. It's that bloody mess we saw on the court a couple of nights ago. He took an inadvertent elbow from his teammate. You see there, Serge Ibaka going up. The elbow went into the mouth area of Kawhi. It required 8 stitches. He didn't return to the game on Christmas Day. And today he is out, and Ty Lue announces who's replacing him.
Luke's going to start. Luke Kennard, not Lou. He's starting tonight. And just continue to build good habits. I think offensively and defensively. I'll keep sharing the basketball, hitting open guy, playing with pace, and just try to build up 32 assists we had last game. So just keep moving the basketball, playing the right way.
All right, so after acquiring Luke Kennard in a trade with the Pistons and paying Luke Kennard handsomely, $64 million during the short offseason, the Clippers will throw him into the fire today. Isiah, let's start with you here. Obviously, we expected at some point Kawhi to be out, probably not the 3rd game of the season, so we'll see how the Clippers operate without him.
Well, no one can really replace what Kawhi brings to the table offensively and defensively. What Kawhi brings to the table offensively is he's able to get those mid-range, close, high-percentage shots that you need when you need a bucket. And defensively, he's able to lock down, your best player like a Luka. Kennard coming in. What Ty Lue talked about was, continuing to play with pace, move the basketball, not try to replace what Kawhi does, but maybe in an assist area from a passing and moving the basketball, just be yourself and share with others and try to get those 32 assists that he just referenced.
Yeah, I also look at this, guys, where I think it's a blessing in disguise for Ty Lue because you do have a truncated offseason. You don't have a lot of time for all these new pieces to mesh. This is a great opportunity to kind of get Luke Kennard into a rhythm, right? And for him to get comfortable doing things the way the Clippers have done it. New system for him, a new coach, a new role, if you will. Remember, he's coming back from that injury. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities for him to get his confidence and for the team to get confidence in him. So I think in a lot of ways this will be a positive win, lose, or draw because it's a great way for him to get integrated into how the Clippers are going to be playing this year. And let's face it, I do think he's going to have to play a significant role for them if they ultimately want to have a chance to dethrone the Lakers as Western Conference champs.
Kennard
just hey, Greg, what was that big word
Which one?
I
can't really say it. Yeah, truncated.
Truncate off season?
I found that one on one of my word games, man. I was like, I like that. 3 syllables too?
I'm not playing words with friends with you.
Yeah, one of your Scrabble. Okay, that's one of your Scrabble moves.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Starting early,
Jeremy. We got a truncated off season.
and a truncated schedule too.
Ours was elongated.
Watch Isiah look down to his phone and enter his words with friends here. All right. Luke Kennard, by the way, in just 2 games here, 4 of 12 from the field. But Paul George has been really good. Guys, he has It almost seems as if he's embraced the pressure that he's on. He signs that big extension this offseason. He had some interesting comments about Doc Rivers when he was on his way out. But, Greg, Paul George, I think, understands that, he still has the capability to be a top 10, top 15 player in this league.
No doubt. Top 15, top 20, I would say there's no doubt that he is in that conversation. And listen, there was a lot of disappointment. The irony of it is that he caught most of the brunt of it, but the reality is Kawhi in that 7th game was equally as bad. But it also spoke to the bigger issue. And I don't think this is about Doc Rivers as much as it was about the plan they implemented. And I heard Isiah talk about it. I talked about it a lot. That strategy, when you don't have history, if you go back, I remember when the great Isiah Thomas and his Pistons lost to the Boston Celtics, right? And the way they lost, in a lot of ways, it was like what happened in that series with Denver for the Clippers. The difference was that team had built up a lot of trust. They were a together group, and they responded the way you would expect them to respond on a mission the next year. The difference with this group is they started pointing fingers. Everybody started blaming everybody. So that immediately tells you they didn't have any leadership in their locker room. So there had to be some changes at the top. Let's see now if Ty Lue, while everything's going smoothly now and they're playing great, they played pretty well for the most part last year. It's when they hit the adversity. That's when we're going to find out how good this Clippers team is. We're going to see if they start to splinter or do they come together. And I don't think we're going to find that out for a while, but they do want to start establishing some good habits. And I do like the fact that they're playing faster. That's something that I think will benefit them long term.
Yeah, I used the analogy last year as I followed the Clippers a lot. It's like they walked into a dark room not knowing where the light switch was, and they kept saying, well, we'll flip the switch. But if you don't know which wall the switch is on, it's hard to flip the switch. And that seemed to be the problem with the Clippers all year. Let's turn our attention to the Mavericks, who I mentioned, only team in the NBA last year that did not lose 3 games in a row. They lose today, they'll have lost 3 straight. They obviously are playing without Porzingis, unsure when he will return just yet, probably sometime in late January. But they do have Luka, who's still been good. But where else do they need to concentrate? I mean, Luka, Isiah, he looks like he picked up right where he left off.
Yeah, I think for the Dallas Mavericks and Luka, what they're going to have to deal with is what we call the burden of expectations. Last year, they didn't have the type of expectations that are placed on them this year. We're talking about Luka as an MVP candidate now after his last season. And when Porzingis comes back, some people actually believe that Dallas may be one of the top 2-3 teams in the West. So the burden of expectations that's placed on a young team right now, can they manage those expectations? And can they live up to those expectations on a night in and night out basis? And thus far, we're looking at the start of their season, 0-2, possibly could be 0-3 after today, something that didn't happen to them at all last year. So when we talk about expectations, burdens come along with that and responsibility comes along with that. And sometimes it lays heavy on a young team.
Rebounding, major issue through the first 2 games, both losses for the Mavs. We'll dive even deeper into our first game. It is the Clippers and the Mavericks to start our Sunday triple header right here on NBA TV. No Kawhi Leonard. He's out with a mouth lash. Johnson, 2 of the tough guys in this league. James Johnson's like the toughest guy, though, right?
Double black belt.
Something like that, yeah. The guys in the black jerseys off to a great start. Kevin Durant will talk more about his start. The Nets and the Hornets coming your way at 7 Eastern, live on NBA TV.